What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show. The Blazers get their first loss of the season, losing 119-98 tonight against the Miami Heat. And normally we do these first loss of the season post-game shows on opening night. We're 5 games in. The Blazers are now 4-1, still number 1 in the West. But the most worrisome thing about this game, Damian Lillard goes down with a calf strain. We're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss what went wrong for the Blazers tonight in general against a good Miami Heat team. Eric, how are you feeling right now?
I'm a little bummed that they got blown out. Sucks to lose the undefeated thing, but I mean, we weren't going to go 82-0. But now we can go 81-1 still, so we still got that.
Yeah, 80 wins still on the table. We'll absolutely take that.
But I mean, they didn't play well tonight. I mean, they played really well, I thought, in the first quarter, and then after that, it just kind of got away from them. They can't have live ball turnovers. That was just, they had a ridiculous amount of bad passes that turned into easy baskets on the other end for them, where we couldn't get our defense set or a wide open dunk. And so can't have that. Can't take bad shots either. And then I thought the rotations at the beginning of the game were actually really solid, and then they kind of fell apart as the game goes on. You're going to have that when you're still learning new defenses. So it's promising that you saw early on that they seemingly were improving on the defense. It's just, at this point, hard for them to sustain that for an entire game still. Just the hope is that as the season goes along, you get to have up to 48 minutes of that kind of defense versus just the first 12 minutes or whatever it was. And then, of course, just hoping that Dame's okay, because if he's out for a while, that could be pretty bad. Some guys would have to step up. We'd get to see a lot more of some players that people are asking to see. So for those of you that want to see that, might be a good thing. But this team needs Dame, and hopefully he's okay.
Yeah. We'll break down this game. We'll talk about the Dame injury, see if there's an update on that. But first, sponsorship obligation. This postgame show is presented by BetOnline. Thank you to them once again for sponsoring this postgame stream. The NBA is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. And as your continued source for all sports wagering information, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. Head over to BetOnline to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V. It's right there on the screen to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. Thank you to them once again for sponsoring this post-game stream. Alrighty, so Krish is going to be late on graphics tonight. I will make the team stats graphic so we can look at that in probably 15 minutes. But let's just start off. We're not going to start off with the Dame injury. Let's just start off with the way this game went up until that point. Once Dame got hurt, it was kind of game over and the team fell apart, and everything past that point didn't really matter a whole lot. But up until that point, I mean, the Blazers were battling in this game. They actually had a lead early on in the third quarter after back-to-back threes by Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons, but the Heat kind of had the Blazers number all game long. How much of it, Eric, do you think was a product of Miami's a really good team that was one shot away from the NBA Finals last year? Yes, they had struggled this season 1-3 going into this game, but they're one of the best teams in the league. How much of it was maybe Portland's own mistakes, and what do you think was the struggle in this game for Portland?
Well, I don't know, because I saw it the first quarter when we had ball movement and it was crisp, and we were moving the ball around the perimeter, got a couple open threes. Hart made one in the corner. Grant made one a couple plays before that. We got several kick-out open threes for Ant, Dame. Grant had one. We got good shots, and that was against their number one defense, their main defenders. So I felt like we're finding ways to get shots. We were playing really well. And then as the game went on, just careless passes cross court. Guys like Lowry and Jimmy Butler are just waiting on those passes to jump the passing lanes, and you can't do that kind of stuff. You can't throw slow passes across the court. There were several times where they were fronting Nurk with a smaller person in the post, and you could see backside help coming a mile away. We still tried to throw a soft lob pass to him, so he'd catch those, or it wouldn't even get to him in some cases, and he'd already be pressured. Just really bad decision making from the first quarter on, I thought, and it led to us also then going stagnant on offense. There wasn't a lot of ball movement in the second half. There wasn't a lot of player movement. And as that decreased, the passing lanes decreased also, and it just made it really hard to get a good shot against a team that pressures. Whereas we saw in the first quarter how you get shots in there. So I guess there are some positives you can take from it. But yeah, it's just a case of you need to do that for a full game, and you can't think you've figured it out against a team like that that'll scrap for 48 minutes and continue to play good defense the whole game.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Miami was a great test for this team because, yes, they started off 4-0 against 4 good teams, but this is the most physical defense that the Blazers have played all season long. And a physical defense is harder to consistently attack and then make the right kick-out pass and move the ball against. And we all know the Blazers' MO offensively this season. It's to try and attack the paint, collapse the defense, and kick the ball out or, finish around the rim, draw fouls, get to the free throw line. And I thought in the first half they handled it okay. They got to the line. They didn't just settle for threes, because that's what a Blazer team in past years would have done, is they would have settled for threes. They would have, lived and died by the three-point ball. But this team kept attacking the paint, but this is still a bit new for some of these guys. Yes, it's clicked the first 4 games, but against this was a perfect test for the Blazers offense going up against a defense that played as physical as Miami's. And saw some good moments, saw some bad moments, a lot of jump passing, just they didn't handle it the best. But you don't expect them to handle this type of defense. This is championship level defense, and still be able to play a new style of offense, a new brand of basketball, and being able to do it consistently for 48 minutes. Now, the problem is that what comes with those turnovers is a lot of runouts. 19 turnovers in the game by Portland. A lot of them, you said on Twitter, Eric, was live ball turnovers that ended up with Miami being able to push tempo and get some good opportunities the other way. I don't think the Blazers were necessarily bad defensively today. I think it was they forced turnovers. Miami had 18 turnovers, and Miami, I felt like, hit quite a lot of shots with a hand in their face, contested shots. Like, there was a possession that stood out where Shane Sharp played phenomenal defense. I think it was on Gabe Vincent. He just hits a turnaround fadeaway. Like, Miami was hitting shots this game, which compounds it. But the defensive rebounding wasn't good, so that also hurt us. But just in terms of overall defense, I thought the Blazers were fine. It was just a product of everything else. Turning the ball over, Miami being able to get favorable matchups, cross-matching the Blazers in transition. When you play transition defense, you have to sometimes take somebody else's man. You can't get matched up properly. And Miami exploited the Blazers' offensive turnovers and then, knocked down shots. So credit to them. That's why they're a really good team. I wasn't too dissatisfied with the defense today. I think it was mostly the offensive end and in the defensive rebounding is what got the Blazers.
Yeah, a little bit too. I think I'd be interested to see what the team stats were. I haven't checked yet, but I felt like they got a lot of offensive rebounds too. We saw a point where I loved this too. The only good moment of the second half, I think, is outside of maybe some fun garbage time minutes, but we had a timeout 33 seconds into the fourth quarter off of one possession where the Blazers were really sloppy and lazy, didn't box out several times, and it led to a 3-point shot on a bad closeout. And I love Chauncey taking a timeout to bring some, hopefully some anger towards the effort level of that possession.
Yeah, absolutely. So how much... I don't know what I'm going to ask here. Are you worried about the offense going forward the way they struggled today? Is this just, do you agree with my whole opinion that it's a product of they're playing an aggressive team and aren't 100% there yet on the offensive end? Is it a personnel thing? Like, what's kind of your main offensive conclusion from this game compared to how they started the first four with those 4 wins?
Well, this will probably, if Dame misses games, will obviously be probably their number one issue now. They don't have a third point guard, so Ant gets in foul trouble early, and Dame stays in longer than he had been this season, which is fine. But then we had to bring Keon in for a little bit, and he seemed really nervous tonight. He was not. He did not play well.
Yeah,
had
he was bad.
Several bad turnovers, airballed a 3. So if we have to rely on him as, the de facto third string point guard, or now backup point guard if Dame's not playing, or we have to play like Justice Winslow as an actual point guard like we did for a stretch in this game, I think that's going to be challenging for our offense to overcome that, because Dame and Ant, having one of those two in the game at all times is really important. So, just unfortunately we couldn't really afford too many injuries to one of 3 people, and that's Dame, Ant, and Nurk. The other positions, I feel like we have okay depth, especially once we get Gary Payton back. So hopefully it's not like a long-term thing or anything. I don't know if you saw Casey Holdall's tweet, but he said Dame didn't seem too concerned, said he would have kept playing if it were the playoffs, though he also said he'll probably sit out Friday versus Houston.
All right, let's touch upon the Dame injury. Guys. Like, yeah, it sucks, but it never, it's never a good thing that it happens, but if Dame was ever going to have this type of injury, this was the perfect time to have it. I don't think the Blazers were pulling out this game even with Dame in this game. Too many things went wrong tonight, and the Blazers still, despite struggling with a lot of things, still were up early in the third quarter. It's just Miami went on a third quarter run and kind of took control of this game. But it's not like where the Blazers got absolutely dominated with the starters in. It's one run in the third quarter, right? And the Blazers sometimes are the team that makes that run. Sometimes it's going to be the other team. And when you have a matchup between 2 good teams, that's what it comes down to a lot of times. They matched Miami for the most part in this game despite struggling with some stuff. But as far as Dame going down, they play the Houston Rockets on October 28th. Without Dame, the Blazers should still be favored in that game and should still be able to take care of business. Now, they have some young guys, but style of play matters, and this is why it's good that the Blazers have been developing a better style of play. Defend this Rockets team. Jalen Green isn't consistently efficient as a scorer yet, but takes a ton of shots, and you got some other pieces there, but Houston is a bottom feeder in the Western Conference. Take care of business and then move the ball offensively. We can talk about who we would start instead of Dame, but just move the ball offensively. That's why you got other guys on this team. You got Ant, you got Grant, you got Josh Hart. I mean, last year the Blazers went on a 4-game winning streak, starting Justice Winslow, Nurkic, Hart, and Simons, and had some good performances. You add Grant to that, Shaedon Sharpe to that. This is still a Blazers team that should take care of business against Houston. But then after that, the Blazers have 4 days off. So they only have 1 game in the next 6 days, which is good news given that this injury. So I see a lot of people after this game freaking out, like, oh, this is the start of a meltdown. I feel like this is going to be the start of a collapse, and season might be over, and all sorts of stuff, and I know some of it's jokes, but I'm going to Twitter GC, so a lot of times on a postgame show when I talk about like what Blazer fans are saying, I'm in a giant Twitter group chat, and I'm getting a lot of the pulse of the fan base just by paying attention to what's said in there. I know it's Twitter, but people were understandably worried about the Dame injury, but guys, it's 1 loss. We're 4-1. How many of you would have taken 4-1 against 5 solid to tough teams? I know all of us in here would have taken 4-1.
Lakers are 0-4.
Lakers, okay, I guess they're, but I mean, they got LeBron and AD. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, maybe this year it's different. They got LeBron. Like, you would have taken 4-1, Eric. I would have taken 4-1. I feel like every single person in chat would have taken 4-1. Right now, we're 4-1, and we've shown some really good things that aren't going to be 100% consistent against every good team in the league. That's what good teams do. They take you out of your comfort zone. You start to struggle with certain things that you can normally execute. They're not going to be perfect every game. We're not going to go 82-0. So I understand being frustrated. We finally lose. You know, we had 3 home games to potentially go 7-0, but the some of the doomsday stuff I just do not understand. Eric, do you understand it? Like, where are you on that?
I mean, it sucks. You know, you had a little bit of this last game too, getting ahead of yourself, like, oh, we could be 7-0, you know. So, just it sucked that we got run out of the gym. I think that was tough, but like it just kind of got away from us at one point. Like I said, I felt like we played excellent, and it looked like it might have been going the other way around. I think we got up 8 points a few times, and then we went cold, and the Heat were hitting everything, and all of a sudden by the end of the first half we're down, you know, and then we come out with a bunch of turnovers in the third quarter, and it just kind of ballooned from there. So I'm not worried about it, but I will say, like, this is going to be interesting to watch. You say it's should be a win on Friday, but you just can't
Even if it's a loss.
Right. You can't let a game like this turn into 2 losses. So they have to come out ready to play, even without Dame. You have to come out and do the things you were doing in the first quarter to build the lead on Miami. You have to do that against Houston for a full 48 minutes, and you can't let up. And it's just a good lesson, hopefully, that against good teams you have to play for 48 minutes, and you can't think you're going to win a game easily like last game when you hit a bunch of shots in a row. And yep.
I mean, I just think, you know, they're preaching ball movement, they're preaching attacking a defense, and they go up against a Miami team that plays super physical and plays passing lanes well. And, you know, so it's like they were trying to do the right things offensively. They're just not at the point where they can do it against an elite defense that plays as physical as this. I thought this Blazers team had a lot of jump passes in the paint that turned into turnovers, getting caught in the air. We're a little sped up at times. We're a little timid at times, given the physicality of their defense. And I don't think it was necessarily like a terrible performance offensively, given the challenge. They still had some good moments. It just wasn't consistent enough. And then I also thought, in terms of their outside shooting, is they didn't have the best shooting night. Shooting the 3-point ball, they were 32%. But Dame was 4 for 11. That's okay. Ant 3 for 8. That's okay. Grant 1 for 5. That's bad. Nurkic shot a 3. Like, it was an okay shooting performance, but that's how you really make a team like that plays that physically. But that's the thing against a physical and aggressive defense, is you have to be smarter picking your spots, because if you get into, if you drive into traffic, it's a lot harder to kick out of it against a Miami Heat team than it is against maybe some other teams that the Blazers have already played. You get into tougher positions, and Miami actually makes you pay. They're that type of defense. So, yeah, I'm not too worried. It was a challenge, and they struggled with it. You know, that's what you expect early on this season. Every team in the league has had a challenge that they've struggled with, except Milwaukee, but they've only played 3 games, right? I mean, Golden State lost by 29 last night to the Phoenix Suns, who the Blazers have already beaten. So it happens. It's the NBA. That's how it goes.
There was a point, it was either at halftime or shortly after halftime, where we had shot like 21 free throws. I felt like it felt good to take the aggression at an aggressive team. And that's what they were doing in the first half. They were getting into the paint. We saw a really nice play where Nurk had the ball up top, and Grant went to set one of those screens for Dame to come off, and Butler kind of fell asleep thinking that the pass was going to go to Dame for a 3, and Grant slipped it. Nurk finds him for an and 1 at the hoop. Just stuff like that. I thought we did a really nice job of taking the physicality back to them. And then in the second half, we just looked completely different. Like we didn't want to be physical at all.
Yeah.
And then, so once again, good learning experience. But the free throw thing is something that they've relied on all year. They've gotten to the free throw line. They've been aggressive and attacked the hoop. And you can't get away from that if you're trying to establish that mindset and style.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing. Let's actually go to the team stats. The Blazers still got to the line 26 times.
Yeah.
And outshot the Heat from the free throw line. The problem is they didn't shoot the best percentage. 18 for 26 is, below par or above par, below average, whatever. I shouldn't use golf references. I'm not a golf head. But
below par is good in golf.
Yeah, below par is good. Yeah, so it's a bogey. Probably not a double bogey, but it's a bogey. Shout out to anyone who loves these references in chat. Is Beavis here? I don't know, but they still got to the free throw line. And in years past, I feel like this Blazer team would not have mentally attacked the physicality of Miami's defense as much as they did in the first half. It would have just been jumpers, it would have been stagnant offense, maybe you run a pick and roll, but it would have been they are out-aggressing us when we're on offense. Their defense is more physical, more aggressive, and we're trying to beat it just by shooting over the top of it and, kind of avoiding contact and playing timid. I don't think they had that mentality the first half, and it was a great first half to watch. It was a battle between two teams because of it. The Blazers in past years have been able to, outshoot physical defenses, shoot over the top, and be able to win games that way. But in the playoffs, we see their offense regress because it's hard to do that consistently against aggressive defenses. It's hard to play stagnant offense against a defense like this. It's hard to just get by knocking down threes game in, game out against an aggressive defense like this. And that's what we've seen from the Blazers in previous years, and that's why Dame will have playoff series where he absolutely struggles and the offense, it just looks like a mess. Statistically, Blazers offenses in previous years regress during the playoffs. So I thought the way they played in that first half was promising because they didn't shy away from it. They didn't shy away from the offensive challenge. Anyway,
keep that up in the second half, though.
What'd you say?
Keep that up in the second half.
Keep that up in the second half. Yeah, but at least they did. I don't expect that to be fully consistent yet.
Yeah, of course. But after halftime, I think they barely got to the free throw line. So that's one thing. We got Bam in foul trouble early. They don't really have much of a. Deadman didn't really do anything this game. They didn't have Yurt 7 tonight. So you gotta keep that aggressiveness up, and maybe because last game it was great. We got Jokic pretty much completely taken out of the game by doing that, and it looked like we were trending towards that in this one. But then, just fell apart. And I think this first game of the year, we got out-rebounded. Only 38 rebounds tonight. Not good for that.
Yeah, the rebounding was an issue. The rebounding was frustrating to watch, man. Who do you think was the biggest offender in terms of giving up offensive rebounds for Miami?
I don't think it was any one person in my mind. I think it was because we were rotating or trying to fly out on shooters and we were in zone a little bit. So it's hard to tell exactly who messes up in those situations. When you have someone switched on to Bam and he's wreaking havoc and Nurk's nowhere near the paint because he had to switch on to a perimeter player. And then, I don't know, just the zone, you have to have all five guys crash the boards. Yeah. And unfortunately, we weren't getting the boards, and there were several plays where Bam got a rebound, with three guys on our team in the paint and stuff like that. Just demoralizing when he gets a putback after a good defensive possession. Yeah. But I thought we had a good game plan to run and transition because the Miami Heat haven't been a good transition team so far. And they also then can't set up their defense. So early on, we did a great job of pushing the tempo. And that also we had that nice play where Josh Hart takes it right at the rim, turns around and kicks it out to Dame for an open three. And we just didn't really see much of that in the second half for some reason.
Yeah. I can understand Bam collecting a few offensive rebounds, being a center. Yeah. I think the issue is, looking at his box score, all three of these guys played 28 or 29 minutes. Caleb Martin, is that their... Yeah, Caleb Martin had 4 offensive rebounds. Jimmy Butler had 3 offensive rebounds. Max Strus had 3 offensive rebounds. Those are all perimeter players.
Yeah.
Those aren't big men. I guess Jimmy Butler was the starting 4 tonight. They started 4 smalls. They started Tyler Hero, Kyle Lowry, Caleb Martin, and Jimmy Butler. But still, that's a small lineup. They should not be offensively out-rebounding us like that. So, I have to go back and look at their offensive rebounds, but it just seemed like a collective breakdown. They crashed the glass hard. And that's the thing. Nurkic can box out Bam Adebayo, but if you have Max Strus flying in from the perimeter because he doesn't get boxed out, like what's Yusuf Nurkic supposed to do about that? So that's the thing, is I think on different possessions it was different guys not boxing out, not being strong enough when they had the ball. Like there was a lot of rebounds that seemed to get knocked away from us. It was just tough. And the Blazers have been fine rebounding the first 4 games, but that was a worry going into the season. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't think it's something that's here to stay. I think it was just kind of a mental collective breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, what other stats jump off the page here to you?
Obviously the 19 turnovers. They had 10 in the first quarter, I think, and that helped get us off to a good start, but I felt like we didn't get a good enough lead despite that. Eight was our largest lead. We should have probably gotten up more with how well we played in the first quarter. Got outscored in the paint. At 3-point, they hit more 3-pointers and scored more in the paint. Not a good combination. 34 assists by them too. Great ball movement by them.
Yeah, I mean,
that's open shots all night.
That's the style of play we want the Blazers to play with. Absolutely. So getting out and running, offensive rebounding, ball movement, knocking down shots, efficient offense as well. So those are the team stats. All right. Let me think of a few donations. Then, do you have any breakdowns for tonight?
Yeah, they're in there. 2 plays.
All right, cool. And then we'll do Brant's breakdown. Shout out Thor. He had 4 $2 donations. Thank you, Thor. He says, let's be honest, Caleb Martin is the MVP. Miami gave us a great defense all night. And then another dono. Lots of picks tonight. Thought we were on a farm, and Jabari Walker does not know how to wear shorts. Yeah, I mean, that's what we were talking about the last 3 minutes of that game, was how Jabari Walker was wearing his shorts. I don't know if he meant to do that or what the deal about that was, but yeah.
Even if he meant to do that, you can't do that. That would be an excuse. Rookie mistake there.
Yep. And then Carter with the $2 donation says, gotta keep perspective. 4-1 is awesome. 81-1, baby. Yeah, 4-1 is fine. I mean, that's the thing, is the regular season for good teams is to figure out what they need to work on and improve on them. The problem is, as Blazer fans, we're not used to being that sort of team. We've never started off a year so well that we've been able to have that mindset. Even when the Blazers have gotten 3 seeds, it's been huge late season runs where they've been in the middle of the pack for the majority of the season. So, I'm not saying Portland's a home court advantage team or anything, but that's kind of what I view this as, is this is a learning experience, something to work and build upon. The problem is in previous years is the style of play, it wasn't like they were building towards something good. It was just, okay, we're going to live and die by Damian Lillard carrying us offensively, and then defense, we're going to run one thing. So when we had losses, it was like, well, nothing's going to come out of this. The Blazers aren't going to improve from this. That's the feeling in previous years. This year, they're building towards a better style of play. We've seen the fruits of their labor the first 4 games. Now we had a learning experience. We just got to turn it into a positive.
And outside of the Houston game, several days to break down what happened and work on the things in this game for next week. But one thing, I mean, I think because of their bad start, people forget that Miami was really freaking good last year. They were the number 1 seed, like you mentioned at the top of the show. They were Jimmy Butler 3-point shot away from possibly going to the finals. So, it's not a case to where like you panic too much because we lost to the Kings or something by 20. So, and then freaking Kyle Lowry, screw that guy, man. Like, he looks like he's complete shell of himself towards the end of last season and then so far this year. And then the guy makes, what, 5 of 7 threes against us tonight? Like, ridiculous, man. That guy was
Yeah.
on fire.
Yeah.
Always
Yeah.
sucks when someone does that against your team.
I
When,
know.
like...
Well, we're so used to guys doing that against our
I
team.
know.
But it was kind of the first time this year. It's like, okay, of course he's going to get off against us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. Yeah, too bad he couldn't have kept that up because this might have been a game even with Dame going down. Shout out to Caleb Pendergraph, $5 donation, says, just finished the game. Sad to see them lose, but it was going to happen at some point. Hope Dame isn't out for too long. On to the Rockets. Yeah, just as long as Dame's all right, and doesn't miss a ton of time, then we're fine. We're fine. Take care of business against Houston, and we have a 4-day break, and we can sit there at 5-1, and Dame can rest up, and we're sitting pretty, all right? We just got to take care of business against a team we should be able to take care of business against, even without Dame. So thank you, Caleb Pendergraph, $5 donation. And then Rollers Kate, $2 donation, says, an L means a lot less donos. Sorry. Yeah, thank you, Rollers Kate, for the $2 donation. That's just how it goes with a lost stream is, and I understand that people don't want to talk a whole lot about losses, and that's just the way it goes. I understand. We understand how it is with the loss. So thank you, Rollers Kate, for the $2 donation. Anyway,
Thank you, everyone.
Yep. So we're not gonna have player cards or anything. Krish went to the game. Wasn't really home yet. So Krish is our graphics guy. We still need a second person to help us with graphics. If you are interested in that, send us an email, blazersuprise@gmail.com, or hit me up on Twitter. My Twitter handle is in the description box below, at ToryJonesYT, TOREY. Make sure to follow Eric in the channel as well. Their links are also down there. Eric is at HoopsJock, channel at BlazersUprise.YT. Let's hop into Brains Breakdowns.
Oh, Chris says he's working on them. Hold on.
Oh, I told Krish to not worry about it, but all right, Krish is working on him anyway. Yeah, I told Krish he was all right not to, but he can. That works. All right, Eric. Play number 1 is downloading.
All right.
There was the downloading bell. All right, play number 1. Back at the start of the game when we were actually up 6.
Yep. So this is a play I really liked from our defense. This is obviously early on, so there was a lot to be to like. So we're going to see Deadman doesn't really set a good screen, so Grant's able to come around it, and Blazers are set up in their defense really well. Lowry's going to pass over to Jimmy Butler in the second slide. And we're going to... Later, Chris. We're still set up really well. Winslow's on ball. And Butler's not going to have... They're going to try another pick and roll. Doesn't work. Butler's going to drive to the middle, and he actually gets past Winslow, unfortunately. But in the situation in the past, this is where the Blazers defense would completely crumble, and we'd be stuck in a situation where we're going to give up a wide open shot. Mm-hmm. And on this one, Grant cuts off Butler. So several things need to get worked on here. Dame shouldn't be helping off when he sees Grant there. He should go back to kind of the block area, which is like right where the red meets the tan there. Yeah. So he should be over there at this point. You see 3 Heat defenders all kind of crowded together, so Hart can actually get out on both Hero and Lowry here as long as they don't move. But Winslow's got to run back over to the other side too. But the Blazers actually do a really nice job here. So Butler's going to kick out to Hero, who in the next slide, who spreads out. Hart's going to run out and contest that. Mm-hmm. And then next pass over to Lowry. Dame's going to run out and prevent him from shooting. He gets there a tad late, but like the effort here. And all of a sudden, kick to a corner. Winslow rushes out and recovers out on a closeout to Strus in the corner. So look at this. We're like 5 slides, 6 slides into this play, and we're back into perfect guarding position. Like, how often does that happen in the past, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
After this many passes by the other team. So usually after 4 or 5 passes, we're like completely lost. And at this point, that's when someone's wide open and whatever. So however you get here, as long as you're providing that effort, you can get back into position and defend well if you just, hustle out.
You all right? Oh. Eric's having a breakdown of his own.
Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. I can't see you because we got the playoffs, so I can't even tell what's going on. Hopefully, you're still alive. Okay, good.
But then, for the second time in this play, Winslow does not stay in front of his guy, and in the last slide, Strus gets by him, but he tries to kick back out to Lowry. And Dame is in perfect position to where he can get back to Lowry still and kind of help off. And he actually sticks his hand up and deflects the pass, and we get a steal. And it's all because, yes, there were several breakdowns, several wrong positions, but we never gave up on the play and kept rotating, kept closing out, kept at least giving that effort, and it results in a turnover. So great job of just sticking with the defense, and I was just so excited to see a play where we actually had this happen for our team because it's been several years.
I love this play, man. Like multiple correct rotations, timely, and then Dame playing the passing lane here, helping off, and then getting a hand on this pass was phenomenal, man. And then other end down the court, Dame got a wide open catch and shoot three because Josh Hart got this loose ball and pushed the pace, and Dame just filled in on the wing. Like I've said multiple times, is having Josh Hart push the pace, collapse defenses in transition can get Dame some really good transition 3-point looks. And then Dame missed it. Hart, of course, chases down the rebound and then hit Eubanks, who finished. So at this point in the game, I was feeling it, man. I was like, oh man, we're gonna be 5-0. This was good. We did some good things in this game in the first half, especially in that first quarter. It's just about doing them consistently. So that's play number 1.
And taking it into the second half.
Yep. Consistency. Got to find that consistency. Because even honestly, even the first few games, it hasn't been as consistent as it could be.
Yeah.
They've had some bad moments in a lot of games that they've come back and won. Like Denver, they were down double digits in the first half, and then Anthony Simons just goes crazy. So, there's still room for improvement, and they're 4-1. Just got to find that consistency. All right, Eric, play number 2.
And 2 bad moments are going to happen on almost every defensive possession. It's how you react to it and stay in it. Don't let that affect you giving up a shot 5 seconds later because you got blown by or whatever. Like, stick in the play. So once again, Winslow comes from all the way across the screen to the bottom corner to close out. Good job, but just don't get blown by twice on one play. Next time, maybe you clean that up. But overall, like, you love the effort.
Absolutely.
And then later in the half, the Blazers went small with no big, and they were doing what we've been asking to do for so long with these lineups. Miami was just doing like the handoff weaves, pick and rolls up top, and we just switched everything, and they had no advantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was working for some time, but you can see when one person falls asleep what happens. So as you see this first slide, we got Hero dribbling up the ball. He's going to get a screen, and we're just going to switch, and Winslow's going to switch onto him, and Sharp's going to go with Butler. You see Hart there guarding Dedmon. Like I said, Dedmon hadn't done anything, so who cares that you have a smaller person on him there. And then in the second slide, we're going to see that so we're still in good shape here. And now Dedmon's going to come set a pick for Hero on Winslow. And in the third slide, we see that Winslow switches onto Dedmon, Hart switches onto Hero. So, 2 screens in, 3 different defenders on Hero, and we're still in good position all the way across the board here on defense. Now, Hero's going to drive on Hart in the fourth slide, and Hart's going to do a good job staying in front of him. And walls him off. He doesn't get anywhere close to a shot. So Dame doesn't have to help here. But instead, he turns completely around, loses Lowry, who just moves over 2 spots into the deep corner. And in the last slide, you see Dame didn't know where he was. By the time he turns around, it's too late. And Lowry has a wide open 3 in the corner. This was one of his first 3, so this kind of got him going, So this is the thing. If you're going to switch all those things, you have to realize if you're Dame, you don't have to help there. It's better to stay home on the shooters and just let Hart either get beat by Hero making a tough shot on him or stopping him and not having a place to pass out of. And we probably create a turnover there if Dame's a little more aware here. So really good earlier by Dame, just has to sustain it more for longer. And you just can't have those off-ball mistakes if we're doing a good job from all the rest of the players in the rotations.
Yep, absolutely. And it's just body positioning from Dame. Like, this is how you want to be positioned in this situation. If you're guarding a corner guy, right, you can see your guy out of the corner of your eye and you can see the ball, right? You want to be kind of like looking in between almost so you can see both. But Dame has a habit, both when he's just like playing off the ball on skip passes or like the ball's being driven in his area, he has a habit of turning his back completely to his defensive player, and it gets him in trouble a lot. There was a play against the Kings off the ball where he did that as well. I think you might have had a breakdown on it, but I can't remember. But he has this habit of turning his back too much to his defender, and it's a lot harder to recover if you have to turn around completely. It's a lot easier if you're sideways and you can turn 90 degrees compared to having to turn 180 degrees. So Dame, also in this situation, Dame can't see his guys, so if he slides down or moves at all, Dame doesn't know where he is, whereas if he's standing sideways, it's a little easier to keep track of his guy and then be able to run back out at him. So that's a problem that Dame gets caught in a lot, where he turns his back too much to who he's defending in the corner.
And in the last slide, you can see Dame compounds it by just kind of lazily turning around. When he kicks out there, you got to know, oh, crap, that's my guy. You got to fly out. You can't be just like, uh-oh, open 3, okay. You know what I mean? Like, you have to get there. Like, you would just have to fly out there. Yep. And he didn't, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Anyway, 2 good breakdowns. Both those plays really stood out to me as well. So it's always funny when plays stand out to me, and then, of course, like, they're in the breakdown. Yes. That's how it seems to go sometimes. But, yeah. Alrighty, Eric, let's start talking about individual players. We don't got player cards, but I can read off their stats. Let me pull up the box score here. Leading score for the Blazers, despite leaving this game, Damian Lillard, 22 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 6 for 13 from the field, 4 for 11 from the three-point line, and 6 for 6 from the free throw line. Offensively, once again, solid, but 4 turnovers to 2 assists, not good.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's going to be a theme here with assist and turnovers. But yeah, I thought he played pretty well on offense. Was his usual self, and then unfortunately, defense. I thought, like I showed, he had some good moments, so it's promising that he's starting to pick it up a little bit, but just have to be more consistent. But yeah, it's hard to complain about his game too much.
Yeah, absolutely. Josh Hart had an impressive night, I thought. He was pretty solid tonight. He had 10 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, only 2 turnovers. Right? So 6 assists, 2 turnovers. Pretty solid game from him. Had some good moments. Knocked down all 3 of his free throws, 3 for 4 from the field, and hit the only 3 he took. I still feel like he needs to maybe take more than 1 3 a game, which is about what he's at right now.
Mm-hmm. It was nice that he actually shot that one, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most of his stats happen in the first half, so you'd like to see that aggression carry over, because I thought he really set the tone in this game early on. getting the ball out quickly and both rebounding and harassing on defense, but unfortunately didn't do much in the second half.
Yep. And then Anthony Simons, 14 points, 2 rebounds, no assists, 3 turnovers in 30 minutes. Ant has to be a little bit more of a playmaker for others. I know he's playing off guys a lot, which makes sense. You got some playmaking talent in this starting lineup, and he's a really good shooter. I would like to see him take it upon himself to set up some other guys a little bit more than he has so far this year. But 5 for 12 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3. That's okay efficiency, solid. I don't really remember his turnovers specifically, but I mean, just for this whole team, got to take better care of the ball.
2 of them at least were absolutely terrible. He had the one where he throws a pass that his guy deflects and goes down and dunks.
Yeah.
And then he had the one, it was either right after halftime or the fourth quarter or a timeout or something. We come down, he just dribbles up and throws a lazy pass cross court, which Jimmy Butler steals and goes down and dunks. So
he's had some bad turnovers that have turned into good fast break opportunities for other teams so far this year. I'm a little disappointed with that from him.
Yeah, and I don't know, because like we mentioned before, he's playing with a lineup usually with that second unit that doesn't have a lot of spacing or shooting, and there's not a lot of movement, cuts, and things like that. So it's hard to know if that's it, like not looking for them, or if it's them not cutting right in spots. Like I'd like to see if they were cutting a lot or had a lot of good off-ball movement, if Anthony's just ignoring them or what's going on. But there doesn't seem to be as much movement with that second unit when there should be.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeremy Grant, 11 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 turnovers, 4 for 10 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, 2 for 5 from the free throw line. Jeremy Grant has struggled from the free throw line so far this year, and he's been a good free throw shooter for his career. Let me pull up his free throw percentage here. Last year, he shot 84%. Going into this game, 75%. That's going to be down around 70 now after a 2 for 5 night. So would like to see him shoot better from the free throw line because he's getting there. 7 free throw attempts per game before this one. Got there 5 times. So you would like to see him knock down more free throws. But overall, Jeremy Grant, I thought, was kind of sleepy today. On both sides of the ball. There was a couple times he fell asleep off ball defensively, offensively, didn't shoot the ball too well, but I don't know. He just seemed to kind of float out there a little bit this game compared to how he had been to start the season. What were your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, I thought early on, the same as the rest of the team, I felt like it was fine. It was just other people were making shots, so he didn't really have to do much. A couple of times he drove when he had a mismatch. He created once again, but yeah, would like to see him be more aggressive for sure.
Yep. Who else we got here? We got Yusuf Nurkic, 2 for 7 for the field, 0 for 1 from 3, 3 for 4 from the free throw line, 9 rebounds, an assist, a steal, a block, a turnover, 7 points. What were your thoughts on Nurkic tonight?
Yeah, I don't know. He didn't play great, but I don't once again think it was like he killed us. A lot of those misses were like he was trying to tip in rebounds or offensive rebounds, and they weren't going in. So
yeah, he had 4 offensive boards,
and I think 3 of those were misses, tip ins, which count as a rebound and a missed shot. But yeah, against a team like this that doesn't have a lot of size, he's got to be better. But I feel like they were trying to post him up, and like I said, they were fronting him with a smaller guy and then sending help on the backside. In those situations, we have to find a way because someone should be open, and we weren't really taking advantage of that.
Yeah. We also got to run sets to just get him better low post position and maybe an easier entry pass, have him across the key and screen for him, have him at the opposite elbow and back screen for him. That sort of stuff to get him position in the post with the defender on his back compared to how Miami was guarding him when we would just dribble the ball down the court and try and enter it straight into the post. That's a problem I had in previous years too. We would just try and bring the ball down the court and just throw it into him without any action being ran, and it's easier to push him out of the paint or get around him and front him and set up the help on the backside in those situations. So I would like to see us get back to what we did a little bit last year to start the season, which was run some sets to get him some good position inside. But overall, I mean, I thought he played good defense in this game. There was multiple possessions that I was impressed with him showing and then recovering. I think he's been solid so far defensively this year. Shooting percentage is not going to look great, but when it comes off tip-ins, you can't really criticize him for it. I mean, at this point, I don't want him shooting threes. I was frustrated with that three-point shot he took. He did have Bam Adebayo in foul trouble. He had 3 fouls in 13 minutes. This is the second straight All-Star center that's been in foul trouble against Nurkic. Nurkic drew an offensive foul on Bam. I thought Nurkic was okay today. Didn't really turn the ball over. Only 1 turnover. 9 rebounds in 26 minutes. Yeah, I don't know. I know a lot of people in this chat probably want me to criticize him more than that, but I don't really have an issue with him tonight.
I mean, he does have to improve his field goal percentage. That's something that he does have to do. But, I mean, I agree. Outside of that, there's, I don't know. Maybe he just needs to be a little more. It's weird because when he's a super aggressive, like, I feel like sometimes he gets out of control. There were a few times where players, we've seen this now in pretty much every game, where he'll try to bang in the post and they'll kind of flop or fall down and then they don't call it because it's obviously a flop. But I feel like when he gets super aggressive, those like look like fouls, so he gets called for them. So I don't mind that he's not super aggressive sometimes, but I also feel like he's kind of hesitant or shaky even when he is shooting like a good shot. So I think he just needs to be like a little more aggressive in terms of like, I can make this and this is a good shot and I'm going to go up strong, and not like in a fouling way, but like get set and go up high strong instead of at the defender. So there's some things they could probably work on in doing, but we know from what Chauncey said that they are trying to work on those things.
Yep. This is the Blazers Uprise postgame show presented by BetOnline. Let me think. Dank Burrito, Eric. I know you love a good old dank burrito with the $2 donation. Says, it's okay, folks. We could be the Sixers right now. I haven't really looked around the NBA. Did the Sixers play tonight and lose again? Yes, they did. I just saw it. 119 to 109. The Sixers are 1-4. 1-4. This was supposed to be their year. The thing is in Philadelphia, though, is their other two teams are really good. The Phillies and the Eagles.
Yeah.
So Romp is a YouTuber I know who's a Sixers fan. He says Philadelphia can't have 3 good teams at once. So it's the Sixers that suck this year for Philadelphia. But thank you, Dank Burrito. Daniel G, member for 3 months, says, don't be bummed. Had a blast so far this season. Any GP2 or Watford news? No news on either of those guys, right, Eric?
Yeah, the 2 weeks for Gary Payton would be tomorrow for his reevaluation. Yeah.
So we'll probably get news.
I'd be surprised if he played anytime soon. And the broadcast tonight also alluded to Watford kind of being out for a little longer than people would think with a hip flexor or whatever. So I hope that's not serious. But from what Calabro was saying, it didn't seem like either of them were very close to being ready to play.
Yeah. And as far as the part of your message that says, don't be bummed, had a blast so far this season, honestly, I am more bummed about this loss because of the post-game show isn't the same than I am about like the team actually losing. If I wasn't streaming or didn't have a YouTube channel, I probably wouldn't really care about this loss at all. I don't think I would. I'm more bummed because I care about every loss, but for a loss, like I would have been all right with this loss. You know, it was bound to happen at some point. 4-1, I'll take it. I'm more bummed about less people in here, you know, like it's the vibes aren't the same, that sort of thing. So, you know, because it's
to trade everyone. Actually, people are saying trade everyone, even when we were winning. So,
oh yeah. There's always people saying trade everyone. They should just go play 2K where they can trade everyone. But honestly, the first 4 post game shows were the most fun I've had streaming.
Mm-hmm.
those were an absolute blast. So, it's just, we're still obviously going to go live and do everything for a loss, just like we have in the past. We've gotten very used to it. But overall, the vibes and the energy I love from the first 4 post-game shows. So hopefully, this is just a blip on the radar, but I'm more bummed about that than anything.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely not as... Chat's not moving as fast today.
Yeah, I can actually read chat. Yeah. But thank you for the member message.
I have a question for chat. Maybe you could do a poll.
I could do a poll. All right, what we got?
Would you rather have had this game against a good team and regroup and be fine?
Wait, what do I type?
Okay, I'll get to it.
Okay.
So this is for I'm interested to see what chat thinks. Would you rather have lost tonight and been fine like we beat Houston and get back on track and maybe Dame's back next week for the Memphis game and we're back to playing well, it was just a blip? Or would you rather have won tonight and then had a huge letdown loss against the Rockets on Friday?
So would they rather...
Would you rather
have
lost tonight but be fine, or win tonight and lose to the Rockets on Friday?
Okay. Rather have lost tonight and beat the Rockets, or
just put tonight. Which would you have preferred, lose tonight or lose Friday?
Okay, that works for me.
Looks like it's going to be pretty heavily lose tonight. So my point in that is just as long as we take care of the business on Friday, I think we're fine, right?
Yeah, we're fine. We're 5-1. Like, we're better than fine. And Dame, like as long as Dame's fine and we beat Houston, we're fine. We could lose to Houston. We're still 4-2. We still would have taken that, Eric. Like, you remember the schedule breakdown I did?
Mm-hmm.
And based on how hard our schedule was through November, like, if we were a 500 caliber team, we would be something like 5-17 because we're playing a bunch of teams that are better than 500 to start the year. And then a bunch of games later in the year that are against teams that are probably going to be below 500. We already have 4 of those 5 wins. Like, we're fine.
Yeah.
But chat, 83% tonight.
Yeah. I think that's right. I mean, obviously you don't want to lose any games, but it happens. Unfortunately.
Who would you start? We haven't talked about potentially one of the options, but who do you start on Friday, assuming Dame doesn't play?
I mean, I know everyone's going to want me to say Sharp. I think you should consider him. I think they might just move Hart down to the 2 and start someone like Winslow at the 3.
I don't like it. Who would you do?
Well, unfortunately, I think we need Sharp scoring off the bench if we don't have Dame. So I think we need him.
Well, why can't you stagger Sharp? Why can't you just give Sharp more minutes?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, sure, yeah, throw him out there.
Here's why I'd go Sharp. Because defensively, I think he can keep up as much as Dame could, right? But then, yeah, on the defensive end, I don't know if I said offensive, but on the offensive end, you're going to need somebody that plays well off of Grant, Hart, and Anthony Simons. A guy who knows how to cut, a guy who can finish, and then a guy who can also space the floor. And that's Shaedon Sharp. I think you put him in with that starting lineup where he's like the 5th guy and he gets to play off those guys and the team still gets out and runs, then I feel like that could be a good fit on the offensive end going up against a Miami team. And then honestly, maybe you put him up against Jalen Green. Kevin Porter Jr. is another start. Are they starting Eric Gordon right now?
I don't know who they started the 3.
Let me go and look at the box score from their game today. Yeah, they start Eric Gordon. Their starting lineup, what in the world? Their starting lineup is Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, Eric Gordon, Jayshawn Tate, and Jabari Smith Jr.
Well, that's because Fernando and Şengün were both out tonight.
Yeah, so, maybe they... Who did they start before then? Let me look at this.
Tate's been out most of the year. So, yeah, they were starting Fernando at center and bringing Şengün off the bench.
Kenyon Martin Jr. started a game. Yeah. So, you put Hart up against KPJ or Jalen Green. You put Sharp, I think, up against one of those two guys as well. You put Ant on Eric Gordon. Or maybe vice versa. You put Sharp on Eric Gordon and Ant against KPJ or Jalen Green. Grant can guard Jabari, and then Nurkic guards like Tate, I guess, if he starts, or obviously the big man.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what you roll with. But Tate isn't the best three-point shooter, so maybe... yeah, you gotta go Grant on Jabari. Because Nurk can't guard him. I don't know. That's the thing is, those guys can shoot. Like, Green can shoot, Gordon can shoot, Jabari can shoot, so it's going to be not letting those guys get into the paint, but then being able to get out on threes. Because they can attack and they can shoot. The thing is, their bench, other than Şengün, is questionable. Like, they got Tari Eason, who looks solid as a rookie, Josh Christopher, but got to win the bench minutes. So I would start Sharp and stagger him and play him with the bench lineup and let him get his first career start. It's at home, and just see what he can do. Give him 28. Give him 28 to 30 minutes. See what he can do when he plays that much in a game, because he's had multiple games where he's played less than 20 minutes and had more than 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
Like tonight, he played 21 minutes. First game over 20 minutes in his career, had 15 points.
Let's do a poll. I know Sharp's going to overwhelmingly win it, but...
Let's see by how much, though.
Sharp, Winslow. I guess you can throw Nas as the other one. Or maybe Keon to keep the rotations the same. I don't know. Roller Skate asks, am I the only one that loves watching our deep bench? I loved watching him last game when we were up by 25. Not so much when we're down by 20.
It's always more fun to watch him when you're winning.
Yeah.
When you're losing, it's just like, man, this sucks. But yeah, I'd go with Sharp.
Like you could say Nas maybe based on the last couple games, but he was terrible tonight. Like, he was really bad defensively in the actual minutes. Who cares about garbage?
Dude, I don't even remember him playing tonight.
But he was bad. So
there's a point.
Can't necessarily justify.
Sorry.
What in the world do I want?
Yelling an ad at me. Go ahead.
You can't really justify giving him minutes over Sharp. I mean, he'll obviously have to play a little more if Sharp's starting. Mm-hmm. And then, Keon was not good tonight either. So, you can't say, he came in and did his job, so, maybe we can trust him to do that. Winslow, I think, is the only other option other than Sharp. So, that'll be interesting to see what Chauncey does, because I know, Winslow was second in the running to start at small forward in the preseason. Does he get that first opportunity the minute we have it, or does he give that opportunity to Sharp? I have a feeling he's going to pick Winslow, but
dude, Winslow's final shooting numbers looked fine tonight, man, but I'm not enjoying him offensively right now.
He took a heat check 3 after he hit one.
He hits 1 3 and shoots a contested 3. It's like, no, dude, what are you doing? I know that turnaround mid-range fadeaway he absolutely airballed was against the shot clock, so don't blame him for that. But
yeah,
he's good defensively, but he's a below-average offensive player.
Well, I'm always frustrated when we swing the ball around and there's someone wide open. I'm like, oh, good pass. And it's like, oh, wait, it's Winslow.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know why he just has not done the greatest job of cutting so far. And that was supposed to be one of his strengths, playing with the starters and stuff like that. So if he's not gonna cut much, if he's gonna hang out around the 3-point line, I don't like that look at all. Defensively, he's been good, but like, yeah, I don't like him just standing on the 3-point line.
Yeah. He was a team low -19 tonight. Defensively, I thought this was one of his more poor performances. Of course, I'll give him a pass. He had an ankle injury, was questionable tonight, so I'll give him a pass on that. But just wish he could shoot, man. Just wish he could shoot. If he's not going to hit a higher percentage of threes, he needs to cut more. That's what he was supposed to do. But that's what I was worried about, is like him not consistently making the right cut every time down the floor, and then all of a sudden it's easier for defenses to collapse on drives when he's out there if he's just standing beyond the 3-point line, because you can collapse off of him. When Hart drives, when Ant drives, when Dame drives, whoever's guarding Justice Winslow, I feel like in this game was kind of just running towards the paint.
I think it was against the Israeli team in the preseason where we ran a bunch of nice action off ball to get some of those guys like Winslow catching the ball already going towards the basket. Haven't seen any of that, unfortunately, in the regular season. So maybe go back to doing some of that kind of stuff.
Yep, I agree. But talking about Shaedon Sharpe tonight, Eric, what did you think of his performance? He had 15 points, 5 for 12 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, 3 for 5 free throw line, 8 rebounds, 3 offensively, and had a couple turnovers.
Yeah, I'm still continue to be impressed with how much he's contributing and how good he looks. Right out the gate, thought it would take a little bit more time, but he's definitely, I mean, he just steps on the floor, especially at home, and it just breeds excitement, and I don't know, it just, there's a different level of energy because you're always wondering if he's going to do something crazy. That one play he had where he got fouled and he like had to duck because his whole like back and head are pretty much about to hit the bottom of the backboard. Like, it's crazy. It's almost like he's like getting too out of control with some of his athleticism sometimes. Yeah, had a couple of step back threes, nice pump fakes on threes. Still think he needs to shoot confidently on the kickouts right away instead of taking the dribble, but maybe he's just a little more comfortable off a dribble and stepping to the side right now. So that's fine if you're a young player to, you know, shoot whatever whatever way makes you more comfortable. But hopefully as the year goes on, he just spots up and hits some of those threes that on the kickouts.
Yep, absolutely. Anybody else you want to talk about from this team that played tonight?
I mean, not really.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. I'm kind of sleepy myself right now. I should have drank an energy drink before this because this team did not energize me, and that's what I've been relying on for the first 4 post-game shows. We'll do a Q&A. You want to do that for like just 20 minutes, and then we can wrap this show up?
Sure.
Because it's only an hour and 10 minutes into this thing. So we'll do a Q&A. Give us your questions. We'll answer them. We'll talk about certain things. We'll hang out with you guys. We'll be live again tomorrow. Blazers Uprise live. Our second channel. Definitely go subscribe to that. Link in description box below. And we will preview the Rockets game and talk about the Dame injury. And we'll do picks against the spread. We'll have 4 games, I believe, to pick from tomorrow. Let me check. Yeah, we'll have 4 games. Mavs, Nets, Clippers, Thunder, Heat, Warriors, Grizzlies, Kings. I guess I could also just shout out scores here for a second from today. But yeah, Blazers Uprise live tomorrow. Go subscribe.
And one thing about Friday is Anthony's gotta play well.
Yeah.
You know, there's questions of, is it because of him and Dame playing together? Is that the reason? I don't feel like that has been the reason. When he was struggling early on, I felt like he's getting good looks. Today, too, he missed some wide open kickouts, at least 2 of them, that he should be hitting. But he's got to be both efficient and scoring the ball, hitting his shots, and he's also got to be a distributor on Friday as well. So hopefully we'll see that.
Yeah, maybe that can be a game where he's the main guard and that can help him get going a little bit. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise, give him a chance to be that main guard. The same situation he was in last year where he really had his breakout, and maybe that'll be something that can help him mentally, maybe. I don't know. I'm just spitballing optimism here. But, yeah, keep giving us your questions in the chat. Cavs beat Magic 103-92. Cavs 3-1. Banchero had 29 in the loss, first overall pick. Hawks beat the Pistons 118-113. Trae Young 35 points. Bojan Bogdanovic 33. The Knicks beat the Hornets in overtime. They're 3-1 behind Jalen Brunson's 27 points, 13 assists. The Raptors beat the Sixers 119-109. Siakam 20 points, 13 assists. He's been passing the ball like crazy so far this season. And Tyrese Maxey 31 in the loss. The Bucks beat the Nets 110-99. The Bucks are 3-0. The Nets are 1-3. It's going to be interesting to see how that Brooklyn situation continues to evolve. Giannis 43 points in the win. The Bulls beat the Pacers 124-109. Zach LaVine 28. The Timberwolves beat the Spurs. Both those teams are 3-2. Anthony Edwards 34 points, 9 assists in the win. The Jazz are 4-1. They're the only. Or did you want to say something about the last game?
No, I was just.
I'm rifling through them.
Do the Timberwolves only play tanking teams, or what? That feels like they...
I don't know what the deal is, man. Like, they've played the Spurs, the Thunder, the Jazz, and the Thunder. They're 3-2. Okay, we're 4-1. We've played the Kings, the Lakers, the Suns, the Nuggets, and the Heat, and we're 4-1. See, like, we're fine. We're absolutely fine. Because we're going to get those games later on in the season against the Thunder, against the Spurs, against the Jazz. And at that point, Eric, they're probably tanking a lot harder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, the Kings and Lakers are combined 0-7.
Yeah. Well, those teams were supposed to be playing... You know what I mean? Those teams are supposed to be better than us, and they're also supposed to be better than all three of the teams that Minnesota's played so far.
Mm-hmm.
So early season, but I don't think OKC in February is going to be better than the Lakers. But it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Who has their pick this year?
The Lakers?
Yeah.
The Pelicans.
Maybe we want the Lakers to do a little bit better.
It's a pick swap, so yeah. And it's unprotected pick swap.
Unprotected pick swap. Yeah, we want the Lakers to not be at the bottom. I know it's funny, but we don't want the Pelicans to have victor. Oh my. Lakers. Okay, I might. At some point, we might have to start rooting for the Los Angeles Lakers, Eric.
Yeah.
Because you do not want the Pelicans to get Wembanyama. Imagine if they had
Westbridge.
Imagine if they had Zion and Wembanyama together. That is scary. I don't want that to be a thing. Oh man, now this is the worst I've felt all post-game show. Lakers gotta win some games. Come on. Trade Westbrook for like Buddy Hield or something. I don't that's
Yeah, thanks, Braden. We mentioned that earlier, but once again, Dame said he's only going to miss the Houston game and hopes to be back for the Grizzly game. He says it's not serious. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's always scary to see him hobbled, and especially when it looked like non-contact on one of the replays. But, like, for me, unless it's obviously, like, severe, like Nurkic's injury a few years ago, I mean, I don't freak out right away. It's like, oh, man, this sucks. This might not be good, but we'll just wait and see what the results are. And because I've seen this before where people will freak out and then it's like, oh yeah, he strained his calf, he'll miss a game. And it's just like, why are we freaking out? You know what I mean? So for stuff like that, I never freaked out of that injury. It's just, it sucks, but that happens over the course of the season many a times with many players. Mm-hmm. We certainly know that as Blazer fans.
Absolutely.
The Jazz are 4-1, Eric. They're the only team 4-1 in the Western Conference as well, but I don't trust their 4-1 as much as I trust our 4-1.
They lost to the Rockets and beat the Rockets?
Yeah. Yeah, and they beat the Pelicans. I think were the Pelicans shorthanded that game? I don't know. The Pelicans Brandon Ingram is dealing with a concussion right now. But they beat the Pelicans, the Timberwolves, and the Nuggets. So that's 3 good wins for the Jazz. But I have a hard time thinking they're going to keep this up because I don't think Ainge was planning for this. Anyway, and then the final game, and then I'll answer some questions that are posted. Nuggets beat the Lakers 110-99. The Lakers are 0-4. Jokic had 31 points, 13 rebounds, 9 assists for the Joker. All right.
So he's not washed.
Not washed. Not washed. Just I saw a Nuggets fan have a theory that he wanted to let Yusuf Nurkic have a good game.
What? That's
Because he's like the Baltic, because they're Baltic people or something. I don't know. It was wild. Nuggets fans were really coping hard after the last game. It was funny to watch. But all right, we got any good questions that that got asked in chat?
if Sharp plays, how many points does he score if he starts?
14.
I think we get 20.
I mean, I'd love for him to get 20, and it's definitely possible. If I had to throw a guess out there, like 14.
I mean, he's gotta be close to the lead in points per minute on our team, other than obviously some of our garbage players have, not garbage players, but garbage time players have, like Greg Brown's had a few buckets in garbage time, hasn't played a lot, but
he was averaging 16 points per 36 minutes before this game.
Mm-hmm.
Which was a little lower than I thought, actually. I figured it'd be up around 20. But then 15 and 21 minutes tonight. So on the season, he's played in 82 minutes and has 42 points.
The second game, didn't he either not score or...
Yeah.
Like, so that includes...
Like, the second and the third game, he didn't really, do much. But the first, fourth, and fifth games, he's scored at a very high clip for how many minutes he played.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's one of those games, it could be 25. I would love for it to be 25. But yeah, after this game, he's averaging 18.4 points per 36. And he's doing it efficiently. Before this game, he was shooting 57% from 3 and 46% from 2. Want that 2-point percentage to go up? But yeah, I mean, that's efficient. And then tonight, because I was a little worried about his three-point shot, Eric, going into the NBA career. You know, some guys struggle to get adjusted to the NBA three-point line. He was 2 for 5 again today. He's above 50% on the season.
Yeah. I almost want him to take more.
Yeah, I do want him to take more. Get those shots up. Get on an Anthony Simons third-quarter heater. Mm-hmm. Be confident. Be confident. Unlike Madden Mobile, who comes into chat and says, "We suck again. We are going 82-0. 80 wins is still on the table, my guy. All right? Anyway, any good questions asked in chat that you want to answer?
How are you feeling in terms of where the Blazers will finish in the West?
I mean, this game doesn't really change anything for me. I feel confident in them being top 6 right now. Anything above that, I feel like might be a little bit optimistic, but they certainly got a chance at home court advantage.
Yeah, I think. I think I'll take that. Right? If you can say they're not a play-in team, they'll make the playoffs soundly. Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll take that at this point.
I mean, especially now you got some youth on this team to develop that could help them be better in the future. It's not like, oh, well, this is what we got right now. Like, we have to make something happen.
Right. Bottas, do you think the Suns, Warriors, or some of those teams lost steam or drive to win regular season games?
What do you think?
I don't think the Suns did because they haven't won a championship, so why would they have lost the desire to win? And they've actually looked good outside our game. I think they destroyed the Warriors last night, right?
Yeah, 134-105.
And then... yeah, the Warriors, I mean, you win 3 titles, almost win a 4th one, and then, have 2 bad seasons with Clay hurt, both of them, and then get back and win a championship, and that's kind of we proved it again. So I could definitely see a letdown from them. But they also kind of coasted quietly and still got the 3rd seed last year. They didn't bring Clay back until I think it was like January something when he probably could have played earlier than that, and they didn't really push a lot of things all season. They towards the end of the year they were playing guys like Kuminga and Gary Payton a lot, just getting younger guys run. So yeah, I don't think it's a case of they're necessarily losing the drive to win. I just think maybe just getting into the playoffs is the most important thing, and then they feel pretty confident once they get there.
Yeah. I also think there's just not a dominant team in the West right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the Golden State Warriors won the championship, but out of their 4 championships, I think that was the worst team. Like, Klay Thompson isn't as good as he once was. He's still good, but he's not like the all-star lockdown defender that he used to be. And he's struggled so far this year. He's shooting 35% from the field, 28% from 3. Steph apparently was having a hard time with Mikal on ball against him, and Steph's getting up there in age. How old is Steph now?
34, I think.
34. Like, it seems to be getting to the point where against, like, defenders of that caliber, he's struggling to do stuff with the ball already in his hands, which he's great playing off the ball, and that's how he kind of neutralizes that, but he didn't have the best game last night. Draymond's scoring, shooting ability isn't anywhere near what it was when they won those first couple of championships. Yeah, you got Wiggins there. He's a nice piece for sure. They've done a good job kind of turning his career around. And you got some young pieces as well, but they're a good team. I don't think they're unbeatable or anything. I think once playoffs roll around, there are multiple teams in the Western Conference that could beat them in a playoff series. And I think that's the case for every single team in the West. So I think it's a situation where you're going to have teams that are hit or miss all season long in the Western Conference. Even the good teams are going to have nights where it's like, wow, they lost to that team, or wow, they got blown out by that much. And that's what you saw last night with the Warriors getting blown out by 29 to the Phoenix Suns. And I mean, you look at Utah and San Antonio with winning records that have beat some supposedly good Western Conference playoff teams. I just think that's how this season's going to go. I just think it's wide open. There's a lot of parity, which is also why if the Blazers figure things out, it's exciting. Because I don't think there's an unbeatable team in this Western Conference. The league has parity now.
Yeah, for sure. And it's still really tough. There's still going to be all these teams there. At the end, it's still at least 9 teams deep in my mind. So, yeah, it's going to be a battle all season for standings. And there's going to be a lot of movement throughout the year. I'm just glad we started off near the top, and hopefully that gives us a little bit of cushion at some point. It's still too early to know, but if we can stack some wins together and get some cushion to where we lose a few games and we're still near the top of the standings, that would be nice.
Yep, agreed. Can we beat Memphis without Dame, Eric?
We did last year.
We did last year, you're right.
In
and
Memphis,
they're
right?
missing Jaren Jackson Jr. in Memphis, yeah. And they're missing Jaren Jackson Jr.
I mean, they're tough with Ja. They're really really good.
But here's the thing: they're tough without him. They were 20-6 last year, so why can't we be that team that's still tough without Dame?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we can. It's very tough to beat them if we don't have Dame, but hopefully he's back and fine. Hopefully it is just precautionary, and yeah.
Yep. All right, looking for more questions that were
we do
asked.
play Memphis really well. At least this Ja iteration of them, we seem to match up really well against them.
But this year's iteration of Ja is a different iteration of Ja because all of a sudden he can shoot threes now in his form.
Yeah.
Like you can see the difference.
Can't go
shot,
under
man.
picks. Yep.
And he's confident. He's pulling up off the dribble. Like he looks like a legitimate threat from 3. Honestly, he like Dame's getting a lot of love for like, oh, he might be able to win MVP this year. If I had to pick an MVP right now, like a dark horse MVP candidate to win it, it might be Ja. He's averaging 35 points per game, 7 assists, shooting 55% from the field, and 60% from 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, small sample size. Is that not a dark horse? A dark horse candidate?
I mean, a lot of people thought he maybe should have won it last year. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Well, like,
Well,
he wasn't
he
top
he
5
missed
in
too
odds.
many games, but
Yeah, he wasn't top 5 in odds going into the season for MVP. That's why I'm calling him a dark horse.
Obviously, if he shoots 60% from 3, he's gonna.
Well,
win
yeah.
MVP.
But dude, if he shoots 40%, you know what I mean? Like, even if he shoots 36, 37%, you have to take that seriously. How do you guard him? So that's the key. That's going to be the key for the Blazers on November 2nd going against the Memphis Grizzlies is how do you slow down Ja? Because they're without Jaren Jackson Jr. They still got some other pieces there, but how do you guard that guy? Who do you put up against them? If they start off going up against Ja with Jeremy Grant, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah, I think you got to put. Well, if Dame's still kind of not moving well, I think you have to put Ant on him or Hart, one of those two.
Yeah. Later in the season, like, I don't think he's going to start, but Gary Payton, it would be real nice to have Gary Payton the second.
Yeah.
I want that dude to be healthy, man.
Mm-hmm.
So we should get news tomorrow, right? Reevaluation date?
I mean, you'd think, but you never know.
Yeah. Well,
I saw someone asked, when are we going to see Olivier Sarr? He's ruled out for like at least 6 weeks, I think. So, yeah, he's not going to help anytime soon.
But once he's back, we should be able to use him for the rest of the season, given that he can only play 50 games under the two-way, right? That's the rule?
Yes.
Yeah. So, let's see. What was I going to say? I forgot. Anyway, any other questions that stood out to you?
Jackson asked if we've watched the Stotts interview yet.
The Stotts interview. No, I wish we had a Stotts interview to liven up this stream right now, man. Saying, what'd you expect us to do? Dame didn't finish the game or something. Alvaro, that is a wrong take. That is quite a hot take, and that's wrong. That's just wrong. Alvaro says, hot take, I think Vancouver, BC will get a team before Seattle. That's not true. I love you coming in here with a hot take, but that's a little too hot.
Vancouver lost their team because they weren't necessarily supporting it. Seattle just had theirs ripped from them because their arena was trash.
Yep. How good are we without Damian Lillard? I guess we're going to find out. It's kind of hard to say without seeing them without Damian Lillard for the course of a game.
Yeah, I think the main problem is, like we talked about earlier, is just not having... We have a lot of guys who can handle the ball, dribble the ball up the floor. I think Hart is fine for a game or two as the de facto backup point guard, but we don't have like an actual guy against pressure that can break down a defense and really be a good ball handler and set up the offense well. So that's going to be the troubling thing, I think, if Dame misses more than just a game or two, is just finding someone who can bring the ball up against pressure. And if Ant's having sloppy passes and turnovers, that's not going to help either. So he's got to clean his game up too.
Yep. Agreed. You guys still hooping in the area somewhere still? I just moved to Beaverton and need some cardio. Eric, I'm looking up the weather forecast for the next 7 days. It's rain.
Yeah. If there's a good place that has a cover, I'd be willing to play sometime. Yeah.
Definitely more next summer when it's nice, but right now with how rainy it is, yeah. Or normal
it just
spot
happened too. Like,
best.
yeah, it's just like a week ago.
Yeah, you should have. I don't know when you got to Beaverton, but if you moved a week ago, we would have had a run for you to show up to. But unfortunate timing. Hoop at LA Fitness. Not how are you gonna bring in people without an LA Fitness membership? A bunch of people like that, and then there's gonna be a bunch of people on the court already. Doesn't work for what we would want to do. Will you do an Ant and Sharp for KD trade, Eric? Well, we can't do it right now, so.
Yeah, it doesn't even come close to working. I mean, I guess you have to, but
Ant Sharp. It'd have to be Ant Sharp and Hart, and probably Winslow.
But then we have to sign 3 players.
Two
minimum.
players. Trade 4 for 1, so we down to 12. That's
No, we're at 14 right now.
I thought we were at 15.
No, we cut Didi.
Oh yeah. I thought
We're
we.
at 14.
Why was I thinking we signed somebody in his spot? I'm thinking we signed Jabari in his spot, but we didn't. Because Jabari was 14. Okay, yeah, we would have to sign 3 people. Yeah, it's tough with the hard cap and trying to deduct the tax.
Chief and no longer run at 24. My membership expired, and no one really plays at the one that I used to go to anymore. So,
who finishes number 1 in the West?
Irving doesn't have a covered hoop, or does it?
I don't know.
I remember playing at Irving Park a couple years ago, and they didn't have a covered area.
Yeah, you guys, if you find somewhere that works, just let us know in the Discord.
There is a park in Portland that has a really nice covered.
If you're not in our Discord, I'll post the link in chat. What were you saying?
Oh, they're saying that does. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Let us know in there. It's easier to organize things through Discord. All right, so there you go. But Eric, has your number 1 team prediction in the West changed, or is it still Denver?
No, I think it's too early to really make any predictions. Other than I'm kind of regretting having the Lakers in the play-in, but even at 10th, I feel like it's still too.
Well, who do you think makes the play-in instead then? Sacramento? They're 0-3, so what? Yeah. Is it one of the bottom 4 teams to start the year?
It might end up being one of the someone like the Jazz who just decide, oh well, we're not going to be bad enough and just go for it. I don't know.
Yeah, or San Antonio's 3-2. Devin Vassell's looking good right now. OKC just beat the Clippers for their first win of the season. The Clippers were my number 1 team, and they're 2-2. Norman Powell looks terrible, which I kind of like to see.
Yeah.
Now people are saying we fleeced the Clippers because Norman Powell is out here. Eric, have you seen just how bad his stats are? Oh my goodness. Yeah. He's shooting 63% from the free throw line, 36% from 2, and 8% from 3.
Yeah, I saw that. I forgot what metric it is, but it's something with like an offense on one side of the graph and defense on the other side of the graph. And there was Norman Powell in the bottom left corner all by himself.
And they were talking about he might be a point guard for us this year or something, as if they didn't have Reggie Jackson and John Wall, which I didn't understand that talk from some Clippers fans. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, look at the what are you waving at? What were you waving at? I just saw that from the delayed stream. Oh, you were waving at something. I don't know.
I was just itching. I don't think I was waving.
Oh, I don't know.
Or maybe I was shooing a fly away or something.
I think you were. I got one flying around me too. But yeah, geez, I gotta do the same thing because this dude's attacking me. But I mean, look at the Clippers right now. 2-2. They beat the Lakers by 6 on opening night. They beat the Kings by 2 on the second game of the season. Both those teams are winless right now. They got blown out by Phoenix, and they lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder 108-94. And in that game, let me see if I don't think Kawhi played, but Paul George didn't play either. So
yeah, he was sick.
But the Clippers are supposed to have all this depth, right? And have all these pieces. And
I mean, when you're missing your 2 best players.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the thing, is a lot of the teams that are supposed to be good already have a couple of losses. Like, even if the Blazers lose to Houston without Dame, they're sitting at 4-2 against a like decently tough schedule. It's fine. So just patience and just see how this team plays as we head into the season. Tori, who's the one dude you want to see on the team if we decide to make a move by the deadline? Oh, that's a good question. I'll also extend that question to you, Eric.
I would have said Tori.
But I'll also... like an athletic, like a big man, but Eubank's been okay. I want to see an upgrade at the backup 4 spot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but I don't know who specifically that would be. Jabari Walker, yeah, there you go. That's Eric's pick. Not Ben McLemore, AJ. That's a good question. Like Kelly Olynyk, if the Jazz really decide to sell, but he makes too much.
Yeah,
like who are you going to trade for him? Josh Hart, you'd have to trade for him. But like if he gets bought out because they're trying to tank, I'd take Kelly Olynyk.
I saw this question from Jamie Orozco earlier. Is there a big name, though, around the NBA you think will get traded this year?
It's so hard to predict right now because the Wizards are doing good. Like Bradley Beal is always a name that gets brought up, but he just signed an extension, so he can't be traded for a while. And the Wizards are 3-1. I mean, the Wizards do have some pieces. They might be a team that's like battling for the play-in. If they are, I don't think they trade Bradley Beal. I mean, like probably the most likely one would be Kevin Durant if the Nets continue to struggle, or Kyrie, or gets to the point where LeBron has had enough. I don't know, but I don't think any of that's necessarily likely. So
if we're talking big names, yeah, it's got to be Westbrook at the top of the list.
See, I don't count him as a big name anymore.
Well, he's a big name. He's not a big player. He's just a big name.
Yeah.
LeBron can't be traded this year, Max.
The entire year?
Yeah, because he signed his extension.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I thought he signed it early enough. Yeah, so LeBron
nope,
can't be traded.
I think LeBron purposely did that in case they were bad. They couldn't just trade him, you know.
Man, why is LeBron at the end of his career just like, I'm like being okay with being on this trash Lakers team?
I don't know.
Because it's LA, I guess, but man. Anyway, what's Zach freaking out about?
I don't know.
He says, oh my god, oh my goodness. Zach, are you alright, bro? Anyway.
Trevin says the waving was me pointing to the bottom left of the graph for Norman Powell, not...
Oh, yeah. I saw it delayed. It was a delayed reaction. I shouldn't even say anything, but... Yeah, we'll be live again tomorrow. Blazers Uprise Live, second channel, and then have a postgame on Friday. And then we'll have a couple days off there over the weekend, which will be nice, and get more videos out. Eric did a mailbag earlier today, if you guys still want to go watch it. I did a podcast with Stephen Vaughn, Believe in Blazers podcast. The video's uploaded on the second channel, Blazers Uprise Live. I also did an audio version. I tweeted it out, so subscribe to the second channel, follow us on Twitter, all that good stuff. So there is some content in case you want it. Doesn't ring the same after how optimistic I was during that podcast arguing with Steven who wasn't fully buying things. Doesn't really feel the same as it did earlier today, so if you missed out, that sucks, but there is content for you guys to go and watch.
And for all the people commenting about my video, yes, I recorded it before the Nuggets game. I realize that Anthony Simons broke out of his slump, but at the time, and the question that was asked after the first two games, that was surprising to me.
See, that's why I don't post the prompt too early. Like, I want to give people enough time, but it's also like if I post it too early during the season, then the questions become out of date real quick.
Well, we just had it back-to-back, and I was trying to get it out, but it didn't work out. But
yeah. Because the plan is to try and do them on Mondays, but with the scheduling, that might be Tuesday, it's just kind of up in the air. So I'm not, like, promising any specific content and any specific regularity, like, during the course of the season. But there is definitely going to be some video content during that 4-game layoff between the Rockets and the Grizzlies game on October 28th and November 2nd. I want to do, like, an analytical video. I haven't really done that before. I feel like I should have in previous seasons, but like another mailbag next Monday, maybe a Blazers pulse, see how you guys are feeling after the first 6 games or so. Stream highlights, I think I might do on Friday or late Thursday. I'll probably do stream highlights tomorrow, and I'll just include the first 4 games so we can get back to vibing. All right. And I'll just highlight the hype out of the first 4 games so that we could just forget this one. I think that's a good idea.
All right.
Anyway, anything else?
No, thank you to all who tuned in, even with the loss tonight. It's, as some of you new people will find out, it does help to talk it out and be here for each other through the good times and the bad. So, like Damian Lillard is loyal to Portland, I appreciate everyone who tuned in tonight and still watched us anyway, even though it wasn't as fun of a show tonight.
Yep. I will say it's a little easier when I have something to vent about and when I'm mad after a loss and I can come on here and vent than it is when it's just like, oh man, that just kind of sucked.
Yeah, right.
I almost like being mad more for a post-game stream because at least it got some energy. But yeah, we'll be back again on Friday, hopefully with the win. It'll be interesting to see how the Blazers do, probably without Damian Lillard, but it sounds like it's nothing serious, which is a sigh of relief. And I mean, 1 game in 6 days. We got a little bit of downtime coming up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this post-game show. Thank you to those who donated and showed some support. Thank you to BetOnline for sponsoring this post-game stream. With that being said, we're out of here. This has been the Blazers Uprise post-game show presented by BetOnline. We'll catch you tomorrow over on our second channel, Blazers Uprise Live. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.